Everyone is falling all over themselves to talk about how this movie is so amazing and it's such a piece of art and this is what movies should be again. I can see where they're coming from. Here's the thing. I didn't hate this movie. In fact, there's a lot of things I liked about it. I think there's way too much praise being heaped on Bad Times. It kind of goes with this whole, I don't want to call it fanboyism, but this like weird worship of Drew Goddard. Now, I've never particularly liked this man's work. He has a lot of, and he used to work with Joss Whedon, so I think that's where he got it from. He has a lot of Joss Whedonisms in his writing, and that's what I don't like. I don't like Joss Whedon's style of writing, and Drew Goddard sort of mirrors that. Cabin in the Woods was a perfect example. That's a film that is Drew Goddard through and through, but man, I know Joss Whedon was involved, but it feels like a Joss Whedon film, and that's one of the reasons I absolutely hated that movie. I liked the bulk of Bad Times at the El Royale. I thought he had a lot of good direction in it. There are some moments where he goes against this, but there are a lot of long takes, which I cannot stand. The edit nonsense that modern movies have. The film had a nice visual look to it. He used lighting very well. The acting is amazing. We have to talk about the acting in the movie. I almost don't want to say that Jeff Bridges stole this movie, because it's very much everyone in this movie does a great job, but my God, Jeff Bridges stole this movie. He is so great as Father Flynn. Cynthia Elvero was very good in this, although personally I happen to like her better when she had the long hair than when she has the short hair. If you've seen the movie, that'll make sense. John Hamm, he's always good. Chris Hemsworth, man, when he's not in a stupid Marvel movie, he's actually good. Amazing, isn't that? Dakota Johnson, I normally do not like her at all. I thought she was quite good in this. You've got the one that kind of surprised me was Kaylee Spatney, because she gave this very sadistic, evil little girl thing while still really making it seem like she was just a little girl who was in over her head. Also, for the bulk of this movie, because it doesn't have opening credits, I was convinced this was Haley Steinfeld. You cannot tell me that Kaylee Spatney, who, I recognize from Pacific Rim Uprising, and Haley Steinfeld are not evil mirror universe duplicates of one another, just with different names. They are so similar looking. The movie overall, it's a decent mystery. This is really one of those movies that's more of an actor's movie. I just think there was so much wasted potential. That's what I didn't like about this. If you've ever seen the trailers, you know the whole, it's a bi-state establishment. Part of the hotel is in California, part of it is in Nevada. That's mentioned a few times, but it's not really used. I thought that would actually be part of the plot. The movie goes out of its way to keep mentioning this, but then never really does anything with it. That was really disappointing. And then of course, with Chris Hemsworth playing not Charles Manson, I thought that might be a bigger segment of this, but it just sort of happens. And it's like, I have a feeling this movie, as overlong as it is, we'll get into that in a moment, it feels like there's a lot missing. I don't know, maybe on DVD we'll see a director's cut, but as it is, the movie does feel overlong. You're never bored with it, but you just keep asking yourself, in retrospect, did all of these scenes need to be here? Maybe it's the editor in me. I could have gotten rid of a half hour of this movie and not really lost any of it. Now, there are clever things in it, and that's my other problem. This is where Drew Goddard, I think, in his association with Joss Whedon, really starts to piss me off. The movie is trying so hard to be clever and to shoe in clever dialogue and clever character interactions. It rings hollow. No one feels like a real person when the movie is trying to be clever. The strange thing is, when the movie backs up a little bit from its implied cleverness, that's when everything starts to shine. Dakota shines, Jeff Bridges shines, Cynthia shines, Chris Hemsworth, John Hamm. You have this thing in the wake of Tarantino. You have the James Gunns, you have the Joss Whedons, the Drew Goddards, who write really clever, witty wordplay. The problem is, in a movie like this, and Drew Goddard is not a seasoned director. I actually think Quentin Tarantino, despite his own shortcomings in this regard, could have handled this same material better, although they would have said fuck a lot more and probably nigger a bunch of times. The thing with this one is, the dialogue feels written. It doesn't feel like this is how this character would say this line. This is how the director wants this character to sound super, super clever. And that kind of was off-putting. the movie is trying so hard to be clever, it almost outsmarted itself, if that makes any sense. That said, I liked the mysteries in it. I thought it was pretty well directed, although he does fall in some of the action scenes into the cut that I hate so much, but Goddard seems to avoid this for the most part. I did like Bad Times at the El Royale. I just didn't like it as much as everyone else. I don't know how this is being called, this amazing art film. I can see elements of that, but it didn't quite get there. I think Drew Goddard outsmarted himself.